And so, yeah, that's a little story I wanted to share with you guys about what I go through and how that kind of looks. And so, yeah, that really dense layer came up, just like got triggered even when I was trying to avoid it. It's like life's like, nope, you're going to see this and you're going to see this really fully. And it was really like, oh, I wanted to puke, you know? It was like, oh, what is this? Oh, it was like just this, it was like this cold but heavy, just nauseous feeling. You know, I could feel it right through here, the central channel. It was like clouded my head. Like I went from supreme clarity with writing to like I could barely even like literally write words and form sentences. It was like such an intense shift. And and I know as you guys can probably resonate with this, as we awaken deeper and deeper, we become more energetic beings than anything, right? So our state of our energy really is the primary indication of how, you know, how we're going to be operating in the world, or how clearly we can kind of think and process things. I know for me, when I'm in a thick layer of darkness, it's like weird stuff. Like I feel like I can't even like move my limbs as well or something. I just kind of feel in this state where everything is just kind of muddy, right? I just can't, like, reading gets hard when I'm really integrating lots of darkness. And then of course when we're in the light, it's like we have this access to this like super mind, you could say, or this more intuitive mind that just absorbs information effortlessly. And life just feels like a flow. You feel more connected to your body than ever. And this can kind of freak the egoic mind out. Because the egoic mind, I think prior to awakening, had this at least illusion of more steadiness with how life went, right? It was just kind of the same pattern, the same routine. But as we wake up, things become much more spontaneous. And that's not only reflected in our outer life, but in our inner reality too. Things are very spontaneous for me with what's going to show up on a day-to-day basis as far as an energetic state, a mental clarity, a physical, how's my physical vessel going to be feeling? I mean, it's just, there's so much happening, there's so much changing, there's so much transformation going on. And there's so many layers, especially right now, as fast as things are moving. There's so many layers coming up of some really heavy stuff. And so we might have to sit with something and sit with it and sit with it for a week. And then it'll clear and wow, the space we have, right? The recognition of who we really are deepens. And then life brings us more that needs healing. And I'm going to shift back to more light. Yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to share. Just that story of like what happens to me and how this movement of welcoming the darkness, it just takes on a life of its own within you. It's not even something that you have to really try to do. I feel after a certain amount of time, after your psyche and your human has enough evidence of, oh wow, yes, this darkness, this serves me, this liberates me, this deepens me into more beingness. And the last thing I'll say is when this process really starts to unfold for you, when you really start to surrender to darkness, really start to just let it fully up, let yourself feel it all, and you start feeling this openness and willingness come into your being, and this knowingness that it's medicine, that it too is the Divine Mother here to serve you. What starts to happen is you start to really cultivate this space of being, you could call it, to where you recognize that's what you are. You are this space of being. You are this space inside of which all of this transmutation, alchemization, and integration is happening. You're the beingness. The beingness is now the biggest thing in the room, you could say. It's just, and everything is happening within that. And that's the space of freedom that the darkness brings into your life. It surrenders you deep into your true knowing, your true nature, that you're the space that everything's happening within. You're no longer the one that everything is happening to. You're not the victim consciousness anymore that, oh my God, this is too much, this is too much, I can't handle this anymore, I want to die. You actually, that, going through that, but the thing is, you have to go through that to start to have the recognition of, oh, I'm actually the space of freedom, the space of peace that's always here. I'm not the one that's actually going through the suffering. I'm the space that's here reparenting the one that's suffering, reparenting the one that feels like it's a victim. And so this transformation happens slowly, and it can be really difficult. But that's what the darkness is doing. It's taking you from identifying with being the one who's suffering, being the one that this is happening to, feeling like you're the one who's overwhelmed and you just can't handle this anymore, and I fucking hate this, that kind of place. Been there. And here's the thing, I might go there again. If the Divine Mother wants me to cultivate even more space, guess what? I might get flooded with even more darkness that I can't handle. And it's easy to get a little, I'll just say, arrogant with this process, and to think that, oh, once we've found the space of freedom, that, okay, yeah, I can handle anything. And then the Divine Mother brings us more than we can handle again, and fuck, this is what happened to me this last summer. I thought I was in a place where, I had already been through so much darkness, as you guys probably know, some of you know. So I got really humbled this summer. I was just like, oh my God, this is a new type of darkness. This is more than it was just like, it broke me again, like I've talked about earlier in the video. It took me to my edge and beyond again. But then guess what? Another huge surrender happened, and I cultivated even more space. Even more of a direct recognition that I am the spaciousness, I am the space of freedom, that everything painful, ugly, dark, gnarly, gritty is happening within. And I am the space that I'm holding space for that process, for the human, for the psyche, for the mind, for the ego, for the wounded inner children. We root into I am the space that's holding space for those aspects of us. And so if you're in the space right now, if you're in the place right now where you're identified with the one who's suffering, and you're in the pain, and you're just in the mud, and it just seems too dark, and it feels inescapable, and you feel trapped, know that that's okay, and that's part of the process. And that's what's liberating you. That's what's bringing you freedom. That's what's helping you surrender deeper into the truth of who you are, so that you will have this experience of, oh, I'm the space. You will have more space available not only for you and your process, but for others, for those close to you. And it's a movement that just keeps deepening and deepening and deepening. It's like I have this sense, I just want to say it a little better, but I just can't quite, and I guess the lesson here is, that's interesting to just kind of watch the one who always wants to do it better, right? And I think that's so natural for so many of us, who wants to do spiritual awakening better, who wants to say everything better, who wants to come across in it, whatever it is. And to just realize, like, that one just needs love, it needs patience. We just need to accept that one's there, and it might always be there, right? It's not about getting rid of these parts of us, the perfectionist, the inner critic. It's about just bringing in unconditional warmth and love and saying, hey, thanks. I know you're just trying to serve me. Thanks for trying to serve me in the past, and I love you. And you can wake up too. These parts of us, they just want to wake up too. All right, long enough video. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. See you probably, I would guess, tomorrow. Namaste.